Stirring the coffee with chopsticks using the vortex method, the only true way to optimize the taste of your coffee at the molecular level. Good morning. Welcome to the Daybreak Show. I am the Sultan. We'll get started, but first, Jack Daniel's coffee. Just as good as the first cup. I don't recommend having it every day. This is kind of like a once a week thing, in my mind. Once a week. Like the mushroom coffee is good for once a week. Yeah. I slept from 8 to 3, so I got 7 hours of sleep, which is the minimum for me. I like 7 to 9 hours. 7 minimum, if I can get it. 8 to 3. And I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling all right. I know that's not sustainable. There's just no way. But it felt good. Took the walk already. Breathing exercises. Are you working hard to guarantee someone's future? Ask yourself that question. Let me ask, here's a better question. Is there somebody else working really hard to guarantee your future? Good question, isn't it? Men, think about this. We work really hard. We think about life insurance policies to make sure our loved ones are taken care of. Who the hell is taking care of us? Nobody. This is why you have to take care of yourself. This is why you have to be somewhat selfish. Nobody goes to bed at night wondering if your bills are paid, or how your health is doing, or what's going to happen if they die and you live. We do that. As I'm open to marriage, I think about things like, there's no one really thinking about me. I'm the one who's like, okay, so if I get married again, I need a life insurance policy to make sure that my wife and children are taken care of after I'm gone. All right. But no one's thinking that about me. That shows you that things are different between men and women. Men are guaranteeing women's futures when they think about marriage. Women are thinking about their futures being guaranteed when they think about marriage. Is that right or wrong? Or comment on it. I don't want to be binary. I don't want to do the right or wrong thing. So let me retract that. Comment on that. What are your thoughts? Westernized is always preferable to being Americanized, as I am open to marriage. I look at women that are Westernized and women that are Americanized. Westernized, let me tell you what Westernized is. She has a refrigerator, she has running water, and she has a toilet. That's pretty much Westernized, okay? And can flip a switch and lights go on. Americanized is she can meet 100 men in an evening on a dating site, swipe through 97 of them, communicate with 3 of them, or look at 100 men that contacted her, that's more like it, because there's no way she could meet 50 to 100 men in one evening going out. But in one evening staying in, aha, look at this. And she will experience a certain percentage of those men and receive their bodies inside of her and on her, versus a Westernized woman who might not have the ethics and morality and values of the Americanized woman. Westernized is always better than Americanized. There's so many wonderful things about American culture, not to be confused with Western culture. So many neat things about American culture, and there's some pretty rough things about it. And they're hard to deal with. They are hard to They make your mind go places where it normally wouldn't go. Let me put it that way. Yeah. It will always be hard to build something with somebody who has a history of destruction. You need to vet for destructiveness. If you're thinking of getting married, or you're dating and it goes serious, what have they destroyed in the past? What structures have they brought down? Have they brought down a marriage? 2 marriages? Did they have 10 boyfriends, but they broke up with all of them? But you're different, right? That's the foolishness and the deception that men go through. I'm different. It would never happen to me. So men, vet for destructiveness. What have they destroyed and what have they built? Or did they build things like a sandcastle and then destroy them? There are people who are serial builders and destroyers. And then there are just women that just go around destroying. They're a very destructive force, extremely destructive force when it comes to men, vulnerable men. That's why you need to pursue excellence. When you pursue excellence, destructive women stay away from you. You hear me, men? Okay. And ladies, look within yourself. What have you destroyed and what have you built? What are you bringing to the table in a relationship, in a marriage? What do you bring? Do you bring a history of building or a history of destroying? And you need to be honest with yourself. That's honest self-reflection. Men, how much non-virgin is acceptable to you? 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that she was with in the past? How much is acceptable to you? Where do you draw the line? How many eggplants in her mouth before you met is too much? How much is too much? Oh, George, you're getting dirty now. Okay. Tell that to the men that I consult with on a regular basis who didn't consider those things, who are now saying, man, I wish you were around before I got married. Yeah. That's something that you shouldn't have to deal with once you're married. Can you imagine having a wife that is out banging someone else when she says she's out working, shopping? I'm going to go feed the horses. I'm going to go feed the horses. I'm going to go ride the horse. Yeah, you're going to ride the horse. What you didn't realize is that her boyfriend's nickname is Horse. How much is too much? It's not men. It's not like you're going to a farmer who has 12 children and you're bringing him cows, goats, chickens, and gold and saying, I would love to have one of your daughters. And he says, I need a dozen more cows. And you work a little bit harder. But you know, you have a woman that hasn't left the home. Am I going back hundreds of years? Yes. But that's the way it was. How do we deal with it now? We don't ask a father for his daughter's hand in marriage. We don't do that anymore. Some do. I would never do it. We don't get on our knee and ask to be married anymore. Some do. I'll never do that. Things have changed. And because things have changed, you have to roll with those changes. And I'm asking you to ask yourself the hard questions. You must accept the fact that they had a life before you. However, how much life they experienced is an acceptable inquiry. That's a valid question. How much life have you experienced? How many men were you with? How many men were you with? Some people say, you don't want to know the answer. No, I want to know the answer. When I buy a house, and I'm looking for houses now, I want to know the history of that house. When I buy a car, I want to know the history of that car. But when it comes to a wife, oh, no, you can't ask those questions about the history. Are you fucking crazy? Of course you want to know those things. Forget decorum. Forget it. Forget the possibility of offending anyone. You want to know those things. Those things are important. How much are you willing to accept? How many eggplants are you willing to accept? It's better to ask that now than have that information leak out little by little for years. That would eat you up in a marriage. Nobody, no man is getting a virgin anymore. That ain't happening. It's not happening. So enough of the virgin talk. These idiots running around saying, no hymen, no diamond. Yeah. Okay, so you know how to rhyme. Good for you. Good for you. But let me ask you this. How much of a non-virgin are you willing to accept? Then there's the person who says, like me for who I am. Sorry. There might be some people out there that would do that. I'm just not one of them. See ya. Practice saying, see ya. Practice saying, no thank you. Practice disappearing. Do it. It's more trouble than it's worth. One of the best things you can do is to stop rewarding bad behavior of other people. That's behavior modification principle number 1. The first thing you learn in class would be behavior that gets rewarded gets repeated. As long as you keep rewarding the behavior, you will keep getting it. This is why I think everyone needs to learn behavior modification. The next thing you need to learn is the concept of extinction and shaping behavior. Many people exhibit behavior because it's accepted by you, or it's not, you haven't given any resistance to it. If it's not resisted, then it is viewed as condoned and even encouraged, and at its extreme, enabled. So have you created a monster with your wife or girlfriend or boyfriend or husband? Have you created a monster by not resisting the negative things? Not resisting is also perceived as rewarding. Behavior that gets rewarded gets repeated. Keep rewarding that. Keep condoning it. Keep enabling it. Guess what? You created a monster. In my consults over the decades with men, this is what I have found. I have found that men create monsters and then come to me. You know, they like wrestling with a little monster. That little monster causes a problem and they can just put it in a box, put the cover on the box. That monster gets a little bit bigger. You're going to need a bigger box. Pretty soon that monster is your size. And next thing you know, you're wrestling with a monster. You might win, you might not. And then guess what? Eventually the monster becomes bigger than you. And it wins all the time. And then the monster controls you. And then finally, the monster puts you in the box.